As we are traversing a very fluid geopolitical period, Japan has its own security challenges to tackle.
We have to protect Japan, but under no circumstances do they have to protect us. I actually ask, who makes these deals?
Japan relies on the United States for its military security, has a complicated relationship with China, strongly advocates free maritime routes, and seeks collaboration with Europe to uphold liberal values. From Greek ships built in Japan to Greek yogurt in Osaka and the popularity of mangas in Greece, Japan is related to our country in many ways. To gain a better understanding of Japan, we have invited a distinguished guest, Mr. Yoshi Sahara, Senior Research Fellow of the Institute of Geoeconomics in Tokyo. You are listening to the Κόσμος podcast in cooperation with the Institute of International Relations. I'm Mαριλίζα Αναστασοπούλου, your host for today. We live in quite turbulent times with a lot of changes geopolitically, with the new Trump administration, with the war in Ukraine, with many turbulences also in the Middle East and the Gaza conflict continuing with no end in sight. And we should also look a bit at the Indo-Pacific that has gone unnoticed in European news. But as experts say, that's the next place where everything will happen at the end of the day. And for that, we have today with us Mr. Yoshi Sahara, am I pronouncing it correct?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Mr. Sahara is a senior research fellow from the Institute of Geoeconomics in Tokyo, and he's an expert. He has done a lot of research in foreign policy and economic security of Japan, so it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Before talking about and explaining how the Indo-Pacific is related to Europe and Greece, we're going to get to that. I think it's better to explain a bit to our audience some key issues about Japan, because we're not very familiar, of course. So it's a faraway country from Europe, obviously. Could you please explain to us the importance of the geography of Japan and the key concerns related?
Yeah, thank you. So Japan is like Greece, maritime country. So we are benefit from ocean, and also we are highly benefited from maritime trade. And Japan is in a unique position in Asia. So in Asia, Japan faces the most challenging and complex security environment since the end of World War II. So Japan faces two nuclear powers, Russia to the north and China to the west. And North Korea has conducted 6 nuclear tests from 2006 to 2017. And Japan's southwest islands are very close to Taiwan. So the Taiwan Strait is approximately 130 kilometers wide at its narrowest point between Taiwan and mainland China. But on the other hand, it might not be well known in Europe. The distance between Japan's westernmost island, Yonaguni Island, and Taiwan is only about 110 kilometers. So Japan's territory is so close to Taiwan. So as such, Japan is facing very serious security challenges. And also on Taiwan, the Taiwan contingency is immediately becoming the Japan's contingency. So it's very difficult, complicated situation where Japan is surrounded by those countries.
Okay, in order to understand a bit how things work, could you get us through very briefly on how Japan views its security? I mean, we know it has a very good relationship with the US. It has some countries in the region that is, let's say, more like-minded and has more common interests. So how these relationships have evolved a bit the last couple of years? Have there been challenges in order to get to today?
Yes. So I think This is in 2025, and we are facing the second Trump administration. So we need to think back 8 years ago, which is the end of World War II. At the time, US was a major power. The US production, US GDP was 40% of the world production. And so US had its hegemon, and there was a Pax Americana. But now, US, especially the second Trump administration, is losing its interest to interact with, even with allies, and also like-minded countries like Greece and also Japan. So Japan defeat from the World War II. So since then, Japan relied on US for its security and the defense. But at the same time, Japan was the great trade partner for US. So for the past around 5 years, Japan is the biggest investment partner for the US. And of course, Japan has a big trade with China, but still, US is the biggest trade partner for Japan. So as such, economically, Japan is trying to maintain a good relationship with the US. But the current ongoing turbulence driven by the second Trump administration is also a challenge for Japan.
Okay, so people can understand. Japan has this security relationship, let's say, with the US, which has its challenges right now. It has its trade relationship, but of course has its relationship with its nearby area. And I'm just stating that because people feel that when a country doesn't have very common interests with another, maybe they don't have trade. Japan also has a lot of trade with China, correct?
Yes.
Which you have been, let's say, lowering in order to try to de-risk, let's say, and diversify your trade and your resources. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So as I mentioned, US is a big trade partner, but since 2000, China joined the WTO, World Trade Organization. So since then, China was receiving benefits from the free trade. And US was so generous. US reduced the tariffs, not only Japan, but also China and other like-minded countries to promote economy. And China was creating economic dependency by trade with many countries, which includes Japan and also China and the US and other Asian countries. And what's happened in 2010 was that China started weaponize the economic interdependence between Japan and China. But at the time, still Japanese companies were investing a lot. And also for production, China was very competitive in labor market. So basically, Japanese companies continued its operation in China. But COVID was the wake-up call for Japan. And Japan faced challenges to procure masks, gowns, and other personal protective equipments. It's like the gowns and also ventilators and others. So since then, Japanese government has been promoting economic security. And so Japan has been working also with European countries to promote the economic security and to operationalize strategy to maintain peace and the stability globally.
So China weaponized the economic independence, and now we have some challenges with the Trump administration. Which countries in the area are, let's say, like-minded? Which countries you fear Japan feels that pose a threat, and how this is interconnected?
So traditionally, for example, Japan maintains good relationship with Australia and Canada and some Middle Eastern countries because of oil and LNG, the natural gas, and other critical minerals. And also, Japan is trying to maintain a good relationship with South Korea. We have long histories, and it's very difficult to maintain the relationship, but still, it's quite critical for Japan to maintain the great relationship with South Korea and also European Union. And also European countries are a big market. Japanese companies invested a lot. And for Greece, I heard that there are many ship owners in Greece, and Greece ship owners are contributing to world global maritime trade. And actually, they are so kindly to purchase Japanese ships. As such, Japan has been building constructive relationship with European countries and other regions. And actually, also Japan has been trying to manage good relationship with China because China is also a big partner for Japan. But there are some risks. For example, some Japanese citizens are detained in China, and also critical minerals and the severe export controls that Japan is facing from China. So there are some risks, but still, we have to continue and build good relationship with China. So that's why de-risking is critical to continue the business and the good relationship and also the good diplomatic relationship with China.
I'm keeping a note of the relationship between Japan and Greece to come to it a bit later on. And I would like us a bit to see and understand the importance of Indo-Pacific, as we stated in the beginning. I mean, the location of Japan, the threats in the area, what can be done, how you see now with the changes in the geopolitics, how you see things progressing and what can be done. Because, for example, there are some people who argue that we're getting away from globalization, and that we're going to an era of areas of influence of great powers. So in that case, for example, in your area, it would be China when it comes to which is the biggest country. But this contradicts the idea of having a free flow, especially when it goes to the sea routes, that is needed for global trade, that it's important for Japan as well. So how do you see things going? I mean, what do you believe?
Yeah, so I think here Japan can share the idea with Greece that oceans or maritime should not be governed by any specific countries. It's commons, and we have to maintain the openness of ocean. And so in late 2010s, in Japan, there was a very famous Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And Shinzo Abe promoted the concept free and open Indo-Pacific, or POIP. And the concept is that any ocean or any maritime areas cannot be dominated by one single country. I'm speaking of this because there were some moves by China to make some territorial enclaves in South China Sea. And there was a huge concern in Southeast Asian countries and Japan. But at that time, the US was Obama administration. The US was so busy in Iraq and Afghanistan. In 2017, the US administration changed from the Obama administration to Trump administration. And the President Trump withdrew from Paris Agreement, and also he withdrew from TPP. That's the free trade agreement among nations surrounding the Pacific. So it included Canada, Mexico, Japan, Southeast Asian countries, and even Chile from Latin America. But Trump didn't like that. So we saw a huge vacuum in global and also international society. And the vacuum was filled by China and Japan. For China, it's quite famous that China promoted One Belt, One Road, or BRI initiative to create ports or airports or other infrastructure services in many countries. But at the same time, Japan, the Shinzo Abe administration promoted the concept of free and open in the Pacific. So it was quite strategic concept to fill the vacuum, especially among Pacific nations.
Okay, but where are we today with this initiative? Has it progressed? Is it something you believe it's doable, taking into account the recent changes globally?
Yes, exactly. So for free and open in the Pacific, it's now very well received by many European countries and other African countries and Asian countries. And I think one example was that US changed the name of Asia Pacific region
Into Indo-Pacific? Into what? No.
Asia Pacific region command to Indo-Pacific region command. So it was a huge change because the US changed the name of military command. And also Japan promoted FOIP version 2, which includes increasing developmental assistance and also promote infrastructure project in collaboration with US and other like-minded countries. So it was the idea until 2024. But now Japan needs to renegotiate with US to how to proceed such kind of infrastructure project and also other multilateral collaboration in global South countries.
I have a question since we mentioned that before. I mean, it is of major importance because we don't get to understand it, but it's all the trade routes. I mean, if something happens in the area, I guess prices will go up, the supplies will be disrupted. I mean, it's something like that, correct?
Yeah.
But let's bring it into how it can be directly related to Europe and Greece, as we mentioned before. Can you name some of the key points of how this, what the effects will be?
So I think the biggest effect will be the situation around Ukraine. So it is quite sad to see that President Zelensky's meeting with President Trump wasn't go well, but still I believe that Ukrainians' peace can only be achieved by the collaboration, by the US support, especially military support. But the President Trump is openly saying that US will stop military aid to Ukraine. So that's going to be a huge impact to Europe. So I think the Ukrainian problem was so big. So other problems like climate change, like trade, tariffs, and for example, like human rights issues, those kind of liberal issues are left behind, unfortunately. So here, Japan may need to collaborate with Europe to revitalize those liberal ideas, including climate change, human rights, and we really need U.S. leadership. So that's indispensable. So we need to keep reminding the U.S., even that's difficult, but still, as allies, we have responsibility to bring the U.S. leadership back to maintain the international order.
And also when it goes to Greece and Japan, we mentioned before the relationship. I mean, Greece has this amazing, I mean, it belongs to Greek people, fleet of ships. And then Japan has, as our people say, the best production of ships. It's the highest quality. That's why they're waiting. It has some waiting time to get these ships. So, I mean, there is this relationship. What other relationship is there?
I think what's interesting to know in Greece was that, so I really didn't know that the ship owners' contribution to global economy and how Japanese ships are supported by those ship owners. So it was kind of surprising for me, and that's, I would say, not well known in Asia, even in Japan. So that was a kind of a good surprise for me. But in addition, for example, like agriculture, for example, when you go to Japanese grocery markets, you can find Greece yogurt everywhere, also in Tokyo and Osaka and everywhere. So, and also last year, Princess Taco visited Greece, and there are many signs and also opportunities that Japan can cultivate with Greece on trade and also cultural exchange. And also, I heard from Greece colleagues that there are some popular animation and
Yeah. My son is a great fan. I buy 3-4 anime per week, and the mangas also. I buy the mangas, and my son wants to start learning Japanese. I told him that.
Yeah, so that's a great soft power of Japan.
It is.
And it's a kind of a hidden gem. And also, definitely, I use the word power, but definitely we are not weaponizing that. So that's the kind of the Hollywood movie or hip hop of US culture. So we just want to maintain and also develop cultural relationship, and also we are both maritime nations, so we can share a lot. We both, and especially myself, love eating octopus, and also I enjoy octopus. And so I think, and also I believe there are huge opportunities ahead between Greece and Japan.
I believe so too.